Everyone, my name is Shreya Akila, and today I'm going to run you through a mini documentary on the famous font Century Gothic. And talking about why I have chosen Century Gothic is firstly because it fascinates me as it is a geometrically designed font, and not only that, it I have not only encountered this in professional context but also in academic context, and it is also used for advertising, branding, print media, and a lot of other settings. And I personally feel that this font gives a more modern and classy look and is very clear and readable. I believe it was designed specifically as a digital typeface and not as a metal typeface. People have never used it as a physical typeface. This makes it somewhat unique out of the more common fonts found in existence today. So let's talk further about the history of Century Gothic. So it was during this transition period from print media to digital media in the 1990s, and that's when the Century Gothic font was designed. It was based on the monotype's own 20th century, and it was also a copy of Futura, which was further matched with the widths of ITC Avant Grade Gothic. And Century Gothic was designed by a American-based typeface designer, Mr. Saul Hayes. You can see his picture on the right side. And talking about how the name Century Gothic was formed. So, the combination of 20th century and ITC Avant Grade Gothic was uh, then named as Century Gothic, taking the combinations of century from 20th century and Gothic from Avant Grade Gothic. That's how Century Gothic came up. And let's talk about the design. Century Gothic has some distinctive characters that make it recognizable. Firstly, if you observe the lowercase letter a and letter g, they're both in a single story in this font. Um and also, the X height is taller or larger, which makes it easy to read. And the taller lowercase letters give the font a more open and readable feel, especially at smaller sizes, and the weight is not as heavy as some fonts that are created for digital screens. Now, if you observe the uppercase letter M, it has slanting sides resembling an upward W. So if you flip the letter uppercase letter M, you will eventually get a letter W. And if you look at letters like letter O, the letter U, and the letter R, they have the perfectly rounded vowels and counters. And also, the arms of letter E and letter F are equal in length. These are some of the points of design of Century Gothic. And now talking about the type families, Century Gothic has 14. They are thin, light, regular, semi bold, bold, extra bold, and black, and all the italics too, right from thin to black italics. As we know, that Century Gothic is a sans serif type family, and its siblings are Futura, ITC Avant Grade, and also the font Arial. In this image, you can see the distinction between the Century Gothic and the Avant Grade fonts. Now, if you observe, the Century Gothic has taller X height, which makes the lowercase letters bigger and easy to read. And letters like W or V have slant sides, as I told you before. And overall, the width appearance makes it feel more open and modern, and it's quite easy to read. And coming to the Avant grade, these letters were more sort of experimental letters than the originally designed for visual impact rather than readability. So they prioritized visual impact than readability while designing Avant Grade. And their obviously their X height is again lower, making the lowercase relatively smaller, and it's a little sort of difficult than the reading Century Gothic. And these letters, these this font was more decorate has more decorative features. Um, like if you see the uppercase letter Q, you can see that there's a curve for the wing again. So it's probably just to show give it a more decorative feel. In so I would say that Century Gothic is a simple, more screen optimized version of Avant Grade, making it better suited for digital use, headings, and clear displays. So Century Gothic has been used in some very famous movie posters, for example, The Prom, uh, Casino Royale, which is one of the famous James Bond films, and another famous use was for the Ellen DeGeneres show. And this font was also used by my favorite bands, one of my favorite bands, Maroon 5. With all these examples, we can conclude by saying that Century Gothic is one of the nicest and neatest digital fonts for advertising, branding, heading, and clear displays, making it easy for the users to read. Here are some references from where I uh, created this documentary. Um, and yeah, I hope you got some new insights about the font Century Gothic type. Mm, I would be glad to answer if you have any questions or any concerns. And I hope you like my documentary. Thank you so much for your time.